Join us for the very first IFL Live at London's Indigo at the O2, Sunday, August the 13th, with me, Coogan Cassius, and some very special guests. Eddie Hearn, Darren Barker, Johnny Fisher, and more. Tickets now on sale. So in the words of Eddie Hearn,
you get up, you dress up, and you fucking show up.
Andrew McCART, IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. I'm here with my good friend Aston Brown. Now Aston, we've been wanting to do this interview for a long time. I think since you've returned to boxing, I've spoke to you maybe 7, 8, 9, 10 times even. We've spoken about your return and what you want out of the sport and the fights that are coming up and whatnot, training alongside Liam Smith and Josh Taylor. But there is a thing that we keep glossing over every time we do interviews, and that's sort of like the reason behind you leaving boxing all them years ago. And if people don't know, there is some news stories out there, blah, 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 blah. But I just want you to quickly elaborate on a little bit of the reasons why, and then we'll go into it a little bit deeper on why you left boxing.
Candy, do you know what? See, there's loads of different reasons I can go why I left boxing, but the main reason is, mate, that I got addicted to drugs, mate. Drinking drugs, know what I mean? And I'm a drug addict, know what I mean? And it was a struggle at times, mate. I had mental health problems. I was sectioned in Leverndale, know what I mean, through drug use. And mate, it led me down a really rocky road, know what I mean? I ended up just getting involved in crime, know what I mean? And just doing mad things as you do when you're out full of drinking drugs, mate. And I went to prison. Obviously a lot of people know that, I've spoken about it in a few interviews. I went to prison, mate, and I thought that could have cracked it, know what I mean, the drug addiction side of things. I knew I was an addict, mate, I knew deep down I was an addict, but I was trying to still be a boxer at the same time, going to the gym, and had periods of sobriety, you know what I mean, mate, but I finally gave in, mate, that I was an addict and had to basically throw a towel in and get into recovery, mate, and that's what I do today. I work a 12-step programme and I'm involved in the fellowship, mate, know what I mean, and I'm clean sober for a long time now. But mate, it's a lot of people don't know the story. As you said, mate, people have heard wee bits here and there, know what I mean, but crime and drug addiction led me down the wrong road, mate, and led me out the door of boxing, know what I mean. I was gone, mate, I was finished, know what I mean. There wasn't the Aston Brown, the GB boxing, that didn't exist anymore, mate, know what I mean. I was a low person, know what I mean, mentally, physically, know what I mean, and I was an addict. But today, mate, I live clean and sober, and I live an amazing life today, mate, because of my programme, my fellows, and the good people running about me, know what I mean, in and out boxing. And mate, I'm back in the door, mate, and I'm ready to fulfil what I believe I can fulfil in this game, and I believe I can be a world champion. But again, there's a process to that, but I will give it my all, mate, know what I mean, 100%.
That's what I do want to touch on. Obviously, you mentioned the crime aspect and stuff like that, and like I said, there was a story that was out there again with an abuse in a shop with a knife and whatnot. And obviously, when you bring these sort of things into play, it is somebody, especially when I knew you when we were training alongside in Loch End and stuff like that, it's like, well, where did that come from? It's almost as if it was a different Aston. You mentioned the GB Aston had left, and then when I read that story, I was like, wow, Aston Brand didn't seem like the Aston that I knew, who was boxing away and happy life and whatnot. But I mean, just elaborate on that story as well. And I guess that was the reason with the abuse at that shop and the knife crime. I think that was the reason as to why you went to jail that time, prison.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, know what I mean. There was there was knife crime involved, and there was racial abuse. Know what I mean. I get done with racial abuse, mate. Right, but there's two sides to every story, Andy. But I'm not going to elaborate on that. I'm guilty. Know what I mean. I'm guilty, and I put my hands up to it, mate. Know what I mean. But I'm no racist, mate. A lot of people have got this thing that, oh, you're racist. I'm no racist, mate. I've got a number of friends with all different races, know what I mean. I was in the GB squad with multiple races, know what I mean. It was an incident that happened, and again, as I said, there's two sides to every story, know what I mean. But again, I put my hands up to what I done, mate, know what I mean. I'm a big boy, I'm a man, know what I mean. I can accept what I done, and I paid the price for it, mate. I went to prison for a while, know what I mean, and I got it together, mate, know what I mean, and came out and gave life a go again, know what I mean, instead of trying to get that old Aston back, as you said, that GB Aston, that professional box, that Aston that young kids looked up to, and then boom, that was in the paper. That's not the Aston I want to put there, mate, know what I mean, and it's not the person that everybody around about me knows, but today is the person I think that people know what I mean, back in the game, back on the big shows, know what I mean, so I'm excited for the future, mate, but one day at a time, know what I mean.
I've got to ask, obviously, can you pinpoint the reason as to why or what happened in your life that went from the GB squad, professional boxer, and then boom, it just spiralled out of control. Can you pinpoint a reason or an event that happened that caused that?
So when I had my debut, Andy, way back in 2016, I snapped my tendon in my hand, so I broke my hand, didn't I? You know what I mean? And it put me out. I had to get an operation. It put me out for a long time. But people don't realise that, see, when you're involved in pro boxing, you're on your own, mate. You know what I mean? It's not like the GB squad when you had to get an operation and you had the team running about you and you go out and go down and got physio and all that. See, when you turn pro, mate, you've not got that. You're self-employed, you do it yourself, mate. And I struggled with that a wee bit. I did. See, when I came back for the hand operation, I struggled with that. I was a wee bit isolated myself because I knew I couldn't box, I couldn't train. My age was a bit flax. I just had my debut. You had a debut and you want to kick in, keep going, Andy. You know what I'm talking about? 1, 2, 3. I had to sit in the sideline for a while, mate. And stupidly, for some reason, I tried cocaine, I tried drugs, know what I mean, and it gave me that high, back in the gym. Well, I thought it did, know what I mean. And quickly, before you know it, mate, I've got the disease of addiction, mate, you know what I mean. And then before you know it, I'm a full-blown addict, mate, you know what I mean. And I'm using drugs and I'm trying to go to the gym and try and train for fights, but using drugs in between it and getting wee bits of sobriety. But after fights, going out and benders for months and months and causing mayhem, mate. It's not a good thing, mate, know what I mean? Really not a good thing, a really dark time in my life, know what I mean? But I can learn from that today. I can learn from it, mate, and then I can identify what I am today, and that's an addict. That doesn't mean I'm on drink or drugs at the moment, know what I mean? I'm fully in recovery in the 12-step programme and a fellowship, which has basically saved my life today, know what I mean? So I'm forever grateful.
You mentioned an addict and cocaine was involved. Was there anything else involved other than cocaine?
Drink at times, mate, but I never was a mad drinker, so it was just always drink, but the drugs was more the stronger side of it, you know what I mean? That was the side I was using more, you know what I mean? Drink now and again with the drugs, but listen, I've identified what the drinking drugs does for me, and it makes me a violent person, mate. It makes that something in my head. I'm a disease of addiction. It changes my thinking. You know what I mean? I become violent, I become angry, I become a different person. So that's the reason today I choose to never pick up drink or drugs again and be sober for the rest of my life.
Listen, I commend you for that, because listen, that's, when you say that for the rest of your life, that's a big commitment. And I do want to touch on it as well. Like, you went for that GB squad with Josh Taylor, and obviously when you broke your hand, you were sort of like turned pro just after Josh a little bit, and then you made your debut in Edinburgh, I think it was, or was it? Yeah, and it was like, then you disappeared, and then you've had to sit there with the addiction, sitting in wherever you may be in prison and watching your best friend in boxing, Josh Taylor, go on and become undisputed. What was your feelings when you were witnessing that? Were you almost thinking, obviously you were all over the moon for Josh like we all were, but was there a part of you that maybe regretted and sort of like it sunk in that could have been me, I could have maybe achieved some of that, but you were sitting in a prison cell?
100%, mate, know what I mean? First and foremost, that when Josh was away doing all these things, I just had a smile on my face, mate, because that's my brother, know what I mean? There's no like jealousy or anything like that. I don't feel that for Josh, know what I mean? He's a superstar. I always knew he was going to be a superstar. I'm not saying I can't be a superstar, but I always looked at this guy and went, wow, know what I mean? And I always knew it. So see, when he went and done it, Andy, I went like that to people, told you so, know what I mean? Because he's my best mate, I don't have that sort of like, I wish I could have done that, and I don't think he has it with me. Well, he doesn't need to have it with me, but you know what I mean? There's no that thing, mate, know what I mean? We're just all for each other, we just want each other to win, mate, know what I mean? Whatever we do in life. But of course, when you're sitting in that prison cell, mate, you regret a lot, know what I mean? But I live and learn the day, mate, know what I mean? I live and learn, and I know that I can learn from all my mistakes, put all that stuff behind me, mate, and today, mate, try and be a better person, know what I mean? It's not, I've got boxing back in my life, mate, but I've actually got good people back in my life, know what I mean? And I've actually got the real me back, and that's more important, know what I mean? This is the fun stuff, know what I mean? I choose to do this, know what I mean? And I'm glad that I'm back, but I've got life today, mate, know what I mean? So, and then I'm clean sober, and I couldn't be happier, mate.
Can I ask how long you done in prison, the stretch?
So I got a sentence of 2 years, and I just done under a year, mate, know what I mean? So it wasn't, you can say it wasn't long enough. It's long enough, mate. You know what I mean? I've done 7 months for that on a lockdown as well, because of the lockdown, you know what I mean? We weren't getting any visits or anything, so it was a hard enough time, mate, you know what I mean? Don't care what anybody says, mate, any day in prison's hard, you know what I mean? When you've got all the regrets, you know what I mean? I could have been this and I could have done that, because that all goes through your head, Andy. It does, you know what I mean? You're only human, I'm only human. I did sit in that cell and go, and I could have been this, I could have been that, and again, another big part of this is that I've not seen my wee girl in 5 years, mate, you know what I mean? I was getting contact recently, the court granted contact and stuff, mate, so And then I went to see her and she was getting upset, and then they took the contact off me, you know what I mean? Rightly so, mate, she's maybe not in a position to come and see me, you know what I mean? I would never ever want her to be upset about it. But I've having to be dealing with that as well, mate, going through recovery, going through courts to try and get to see my wee girl, you know what I mean? And I'm still not over the line with that, mate, but today I've got hope, mate, I've got faith today, mate, you know what I mean? It will happen.
I was going to say to that, was going to be my next question. What's the effect been on your family? I mean, I did know the story about your daughter, and you haven't seen her in 5 years now. I've got kids. I haven't seen my son in about a month, and it breaks my heart. I gave him a big cuddle when he got in the car, and I can only imagine what that means, how that feels for you, not seeing your daughter for five years, man. It must honestly be heartbreaking for you.
It's hard every single day, mate. You know what I mean? I see pictures of her every single day. I've got pictures on my phone. I mean, I look at pictures every single day, mate. She's in my life every single day. You know what I mean? And it's just unfortunate that I'm not getting to see her. You know what I mean? There is a court process and all that, so I'm not going to start diving in on it about my ex-partner and stuff like that. There's a process, and you know what I mean. And just unfortunate, mate. It's really unfortunate because she's missing out a lot in life. And I sent her some pictures recently, you know what I mean, and I don't know if she got them or no, but I'll always say that, mate, that's out of my control, that side. I sent my pictures, we note in there, you know what I mean, saying Dad might be on the telly next couple of weeks, you can tune in if you're allowed and stuff like that, you know what I mean. So listen, mate, I can just do my best today, mate. I've got no control of anybody else, you know what I mean. But fingers crossed, mate, that'll get sorted in court soon, because, see, to be honest with you, mate, I need my wee daughter in my life, mate. That wee part of my life's missing, you know what I mean? I've got boxing back, I've got my mental health back, sobriety, you know what I mean, mate? But there's one part in my life that's missing, is my daughter, mate, and it's a shame for my mum and that as well, mate, because they're the same. It's their grandchild and they've not seen her in years, you know what I mean? And I've got a wee niece as well who's not seen her. And it's a hard time, mate, but you know what I mean, I'll keep my head up and I'll keep charging on, you know what I mean?
Definitely. Listen, fingers crossed for you. And I've seen that you had Monroe on the back of your shorts yesterday when you were getting your photos done, so there's a reason as to why to keep fighting, not just in life, but in that ring as well.
Exactly, mate, 100%, mate. I'll never stop me. As I said, mate, I'm a strong person. It'll take a lot to break me, what I've been through, mate. So anybody wants to try it in the ring, come ahead, you know what I mean? But nah, mate, everything's good and life's good today, and I appreciate you, Andy. Thank you.
I've got to ask you, well, you became sort of like, I've seen you post little booklet snippets of on a book, and I've always wanted to ask you, if you became sort of almost religious in your time as to why you post all these sort of messages as well.
Do you know what it is, Andy? See, in the fellowship and recovery, it's a lot of talk about God, you know what I mean? And it's not that I'm religious, but God can be anything. God, your higher power's God, mate, can be anything. You know what I mean? Whatever you choose it to be, and the wee snippets I put up are just in another wee mediation booklet, you know what I mean? It's just to give other people hope and strength, any other addicts that are struggling today, you know what I mean? They can have a wee look, mate, or they can reach out to me, mate. I'm there to help, you know what I mean? So I'm a wee bit religious in that sense through the fellowship, mate, you know what I mean? But it does me a world of good, Andy.
I'll leave it on here. I want to ask two more questions because I do want to bring it back to the boxing for my last question. But you mentioned there that you're an addict. Now, addiction can be anything from the drugs and the drink, but you're back to being addicted to boxing.
100%, mate. And as you said yesterday, like, I've not been at the gym since that's my head, that's my head, Andy. That's my addict head, if you want to say. As soon as I'm back, as I said, when I'm back in boxing, mate, I'm just boxing. But it's a good thing, obviously, you know what I mean? I've not left Liverpool in fucking months, you know what I mean?
I can hear the Scouse accent.
There you go, mate, you know what I mean? I've not left it in months, mate, and because I'm down there learning my trade, Andy, I want to give myself the best chance possible of being the best Aston Brown, you know what I mean? Doing there learning my trade every single day, watching the best fighters, watching how they act, watch how they, you know what I mean, their character, how they approach things, you know, that's something that all young fighters should take on board, you know what I mean? Is watch the fighters run about you, the talented fighters run about you. If you've got world class fighters in your stable, see once you train, sit on the sideline, soak in everything they're doing, mate, because that's what I done when I was younger, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying I'm in a sort of finished article, mate, but I'm getting experience in the game every single day, you know what I mean?
I've said two more questions. I've thought another one. See, when you're in your darkest and your lowest point, did you ever see this happen? Did you ever see you sitting in front of me again, or even in that weigh-in room there, or even fighting back at the Meadowbank, or even headlining a show in your homecoming in Glasgow when you return? When you were in your deepest and darkest place, did you ever see that happening?
No, mate, no. And that deepest and darkest place, mate, is, as I say, mate, there's hell, right, and then there's hell's basement, you know what I mean? I've been in hell's basement, mate, and the only way is up for there, you know what I mean? It's either death or you charge up, mate, and you start changing, you know what I mean? And that's what I've done, mate, but I'd never ever see myself being sitting in this position talking to you or in big press conferences or weighing in for big fights. I never ever seen it again, mate, but that's one thing I say, see if you do the right things in life, good things will come, mate, and the day I feel as if I'm doing the right things in life, and I think I'm getting the good off it, know what I mean? One day at a time, mate, you never know what's around the corner, do you?
Exactly, Aston. One final one for me then, like I said to you there, you've been through it all. You've been at the lowest of the low, you've been at the highest GB squads and all this sort of stuff. Have you got a message for any young fighter that may be thinking of that there's no light at the end of the tunnel? Not just any fighter, any young person watching this, because we do know that mental health is a big part in life right now. So any young person watching this where they can't see that light at the end of the tunnel, they're at the lowest of the low and they might be thinking about taking that drug or going on that drink. Have you got a message for them?
100%, mate. Do not do that. The best thing, I know it's easy to say don't do that, the best thing you can do is reach out and speak to others, because that was a massive part of my problem, Andy. I was a guy who carried everything inside, and see when people asked, are you alright? I asked, I'm fine. But no, I was killing inside. Reach out and speak to others, and I know that is a lot easier said than done, but it's the best thing you ever do. And don't pick up the drink and drugs, mate, because they will only lead you one way, and it's the wrong way. And I'm proof of that, know what I mean? But you can always come back, even if you have made mistakes, know what I mean? Hot people made mistakes, whatever, you can always come back and be a better person. It's not the end. It's not the end until it's the fucking end, know what I mean? So, aye, that's it, man.
Aston, well, you've got a fight tomorrow night. You're just weighed in, and you've actually probably not had no food, so you're probably thirsty as hell there because you've drank all your water there. You look at it. So, listen, thank you so much for getting this sit down. I've been looking forward to this for a long time because I wanted to get your story out there. I'm a fan. I can't wait to see you fight again tomorrow night. I was lucky enough to see your homecoming in Glasgow in a warehouse, which epitomises Glasgow. I thought that thing. So, listen, go and get something to eat. Go and get some fluid in you, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow night.
I appreciate you, Andy. Thank you so much for doing this, mate. Thank you.
Anytime, brother. Thank you, Aston.
Thank you.
Join us for the very first IFL Live at London's Indigo at the O2, Sunday, August the 13th, with me, Kugan Cassius, and some very special guests, Eddie Hearn, Darren Barker, Johnny Fisher, and more. Tickets now on sale. So in the words of Eddie Hearn,
You get up, you dress up, and you fucking show up.